Each one of us sitting here is a brand in his own way, his way, absolutely.
You are fond of going to kitty parties, maintain a proper timeline. You know why? जो लेट से आएगी उसके बारे में बात होगी, जो देर जल्दी जाएगी उसके बारे में बात होगी. So a strict timeline is very, very critical. Ladies, pardon me for this. Now the issue is, how do people see us? People see us, people observe us in 4 ways only. What we do, how we look, what we say, and how we say. Invariably, most of our attention is in terms of how we look. That's the reason. What am I going to wear on a particular wedding? The planning may start 3 months ago, before. And nobody gives you a look because they are more bothered about their own clothes. But essentially, what we do, what we say, and how we say makes us or mars us, because personal brand gets made, whether it is positive or negative, because it is what people think of you when you are not there. So who are we? Am I an outstanding person? Or am I standing out of the crowd? And if I'm standing out of the crowd, what do I need to do to come inside the crowd, to be part of the crowd? Let's look at it. And I'm going to share a very interesting quote by Dr. Seuss, who said, very interesting, today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. But the change is happening. And the change is from self-improvement to self-packaging. How do we do that? And let me just give you a little historical perspective of this also. When Napoleon Hill wrote the book in 1937, Think and Grow Rich, he started talking about us. But until in 1981, in positioning the battle for your mind, people started taking note of it. But essentially it was popularized by Tom Peters, who started talking about personal branding. You may call it in any way. You may call it in the form of impressions management, online identity management, reputation capital, reputation management, whatever. And those who do business, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs sitting here, the SARC is nothing but the kind of brand we have created. And today, there's an ad going on television who comes and says, my CIBIL score is 750. Notice me. And everyone notices him. Though I feel 750 is much lower score. We quote from Tom Peters, and he said, all of us need to understand the importance of branding. We are CEOs of our own companies. Me Incorporated. To be in business today, our most important job is to be head marketer for the brand called you. Americans call it me, written into me private limited in Indian context. And of course today, under the company's law, we can have a single person enterprise also. So how do I handle the single person enterprise? Well, my person and professional development is packaged with marketing and branding. Well, this is a brand. And look at world's biggest brands, and the moment you recommend something to someone, you say it's a Sony. Brands have a value. In the movie Pa says, Google se kaise bachoge? Because Google se bachna namumkin hai. And if companies have a brand, we also have a brand. And what's a brand? A promise kept over time. A promise with which we start, and a promise with which we sustain ourselves, and a promise that stays with us. Let me ask you a question. In which movie did we hear this dialogue? Mere paas maa hai. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sabko pata hai. Patient was actually laid out by mother. When she looked at मेरा मुन्ना, मेरी मुन्नी, सैकड़ों में एक, लाखों में एक, करोड़ों में एक. And if you really look around, each one of you sitting here is actually लाखों में एक. I don't know about करोड़ों में एक, I wish. But लाखों में एक, certainly, because that's the power. And because of this power, मेरा मुन्ना मेरी मुन्नी started with Raja and Rani or Rajkumar and Rajkumari and always said, look at me, notice me, I'm important. Because mother ingrained that in us. But at the same time, our mother ingrained another thing in us, the basic foundation of personal branding. And I'm repeating certain things which are very, very common, but I'm trying to link it with that. When she taught us, and school books actually kept talking about it, that if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character is lost, everything is lost. And your character is nothing but a true foundation of your personal brand. And you cannot create a multi-story building based on bamboo sticks. You need to have an absolutely strong character. The packaging. Question is, then what's important? Companies keep talking about vision, mission, values. And today we also say, hey, as an individual, do you have a vision for yourself? Do you have a mission for yourself? Do you have a value for yourself? Yes, those are sanskars. But then, how am I branding myself? How am I packaging myself becomes absolutely vital. So whether it is online or offline, my personal branding becomes critical. And how do I figure out and use it is where I make it or mar it. What kind of benefits do I draw out of it? A good personal branding can lead to my personal credibility, within the organization my promotability, my potential spotting so that I could be seen as a front runner or what we call as high potential person, or I create my positive reputation that this is the lawyer I wish to go to, this is the doctor I wish to go to, this is the tailor I wish to go to, this is the barber I wish to go to, because he knows me and I am very comfortable with that. And then it leads to our own powerful leadership and eventually our professional standing. But then how does it work? It's a combination of my talent, my passion, and my experience. When talent and experience combines, it gives me strengths. When talent and passion combines, it gives me values. When experience and passion combines, it creates my ideas. But to create a stronger brand, I need all of them together. And that is where I need to be absolutely conscious. The question is, where does it work? Or an opposite question could be, where does it not work? Because there is a statement which we talk about in the industry, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. And how do I ensure जो मैं दिख रहा है वो बिकना चाहिए? Let me quote a very interesting example which I had in my school. When I was passing out from school, class 11th, and we had the farewell party, and the principal said, "Bachcho, it is not only important to have a good picture, it is important to have a good frame too." I said, wow, principal साहब ने पहली बार अकल की बात करी. Very important. The photo should be good, the frame should be good. After 14 years, I went back to school and I spoke with the principal and I said, "Sir, you taught us that it is important to have a good picture, it is important to have a good frame. Life has also taught me something different." He says, "What's that?" I said, "While the photograph is important and the frame is important, where you put the frame is also important. Have a good picture, have a good frame, keep it upside down, keep it inside the almirah, don't show it to people. It'll not work. So if you have a good photography, if you have a good frame, high time we start showing, and let us not be shy about it, because this is the industry. जो दिखता है, वो दिखता है. The question is, how do I assess what is my personal branding? And for that, perhaps we need to really work on some of the things when we go back and actually complete these sentences. Don't worry about this noting, because I'll upload it on my website, so by tomorrow morning you can download from thepersonalapp.com. But I need to look at my values. My principles are such and such. My beliefs are, I'm motivated by such and such. I'm known for such and such. My personality is such and such. I excel at such and such function. And what is my style? I'm an extrovert, introvert. Am I formal, am I informal, or am I a total bindas fellow? I really need to have a relook into me time and again. And even I do that. And I made a very conscious choice that as a professional, I need to work on 5 qualities. And today I'm sharing those, which I make a very conscious effort to project. More is a secret coming out. And these 5 qualities I consider are: Rajiv must have reliability. The client must say, if this kind of a job has to be done, go to Rajiv Khurana. The client must be assured that it will be absolutely, the deadlines will be met. No excuses shall be given. The quality will be super class. That's reliability. The deliverables will not be compromised. The values will not be compromised. At the same time, I'm an assertive fellow. Nobody can take me for a ride. I'm not aggressive. Sometimes the line of demarcation is very thin, but I try to be on the assertive side. Well, people do think that I'm a bit jovial, though my wife doesn't agree with me. Because she always says, सब तो कहते हैं अच्छी तरह बात करते हो, मेरे से क्यों नहीं करते? ऐसे बोलने के पैसे मिलते हैं मुझको. But certainly, I do think that I'm innovative. I try to find new ways of packaging. I don't even repeat my presentations, because each presentation is absolutely fresh, and what you see is an absolute oven fresh presentation. At the same time, I don't want to compromise on ethics. I am a very virtuous fellow. And these days I'm actually making a lot of noise in the industry to identify those professionals who are doing hanky-panky in business, so that we can name them and shame them, because corruption is not against politicians and the bureaucrats. It is happening in the private sector too. Now the question is, how do I work on my personal branding? Let me share 8 points with you. The first one, of course, is build yourself. And when you're building yourself, be authentic, ensure the right behavior, and work with credibility. Do what you say. Prepare yourself first before you start talking about it, because people can see you through. People can see you through very fast in terms of how honest and straight you are. They don't need MBAs or high qualifications, because they can read you very well. The second aspect is receive feedback. But ask people who matter, not everyone. These days there is a fashion which has come up on LinkedIn. People send emails to all their connected fellows that give me a 360-degree feedback. You have just become my contact. How do I know you? How can I make an assessment for you? So please don't look at my feedback. Look at the feedback of 10 people who are closer to you. The best guy to give you the feedback is your wife. Do you sit down and take it honestly? And she will be more than happy to give it to you. Articulate your needs. It's not a question of what kind of skills are we projecting, but what kind of values are we positioning. But at the same time, avoid your self-promotion, because you have to find space in the mind share of people, and that's not an easy task. The recall value is absolutely critical. So what do? We need to nurture our network. And the biggest mistake in nurturing the network we as professionals do is we exchange visiting cards. That's a horrible, horrible way of thinking that this is a network. They will come and collect all this, and they would not be in a position to later on correlate in a conference whose face and whose card is this. Please focus. If you want to exchange cards, do that. But then focus on the people you want to nurture your network. And then go back and write to them. Send a personalized email and not Sat Sri Akal to copy to all. It was wonderful meeting you in the conference, and a copy is sent to 20 people. No way. Make it personalized. Talk about something which he said and you can recall. He will feel happy about it. That's how relationships are nurtured. If you have something valuable to offer, offer that. But don't say, we must meet and work together. Nobody works like that, because, in my opinion, networking is not working. You need to really invest in a relationship before you start working together. So it's important that we deliver. We deliver whatever we have promised. We deliver our commitment, and then make sure that we monitor it very aggressively. Even when Sachin Tendulkar used to get out, while walking into the pavilion, he used to stop by the laptop to see how he was getting on. That's the kind of feedback we need to really look at. That's the kind of monitoring we actually want. We need to invigorate our learning and packaging. And here I say, apply Dr. Moore's law. Once I made a presentation at an international program saying, can we apply Dr. Moore's law to our own career? And people were confused. What is Moore's law? Moore's law said, after every 18 months, the price of the computer comes down by half and the capability doubles. It is true as of today, and this is true even with your smartphones today. Which would mean you're not paying to the organization to invent a better computer or a better smartphone. To be in the market, they have to do it. And if we do not improve this hardware and software which we are carrying, then what will happen? We will be trying to sell at a higher price an equipment which is pretty old in terms of our mindset. That is not acceptable. So can we change our resume every 18 months? That's a big question. And that is what people learn to ignore, because this requires a lot of hard work. Next point, nourish presence in social media and web. And I'm going to be talking more in details on this. But lastly, when we go to the vegetable vendor, we ask for more. The ghunga and the kosuru is very important for all of us. And when somebody gives us something more, we feel very happy about it. So if that is what is the acceptable norm, when you give more than what is expected, your brand is certainly going to enhance. The question is, what do I need to do when I'm working online? First of all, be active. Don't just create an account and then sleep over it. A lot of people would open a LinkedIn account and then you look into their profile, they have only one friend. I'm sorry, don't start that. But once you have started, be active on it, be seen on that, be felt. And today it's easier when you're actually using a smartphone. And I'm going to be talking more in terms of Facebook, G+, LinkedIn, SlideShare, Twitter, WhatsApp, and YouTube. There are so many other things available, but these are the commonly used stuff that we are more accustomed to. Second, in order to be recognized, start recognizing others. It's so easy on the LinkedIn to endorse people on the skills. You have interacted with them, you know about them, just say I endorse. The person feels happy. And what is Newton's third law? Every action is an equal and opposite reaction, and that applies to human behavior. You appreciate someone, he will appreciate you back. You frown at someone, he will frown at you back. Little more. So find reasons to appreciate others, and suddenly you will find that you are getting your fan mail much bigger. So what kind of recommendations can you do? And don't ask for recommendation, let the recommendation happen for you. But at the same time, be generous in terms of giving recognition. Those guys are definitely going to recognize you. Avoid cynicism, criticism, and dirty messages. Some people are in the habit of reacting to every Facebook message or every Twitter message with their cynicism. Please, there are softwares available which can track your entire social media movement, and especially if you are into a job, be careful about it. I know a guy who perhaps is not having the right relationship with his wife, and every day I get an update on his Facebook in terms of what's happening to him. I'm sorry, this is not the place to talk about that. Because whatever you would have said would be recorded, and anyone can access it and analyze it. Therefore, be careful. And in case you are fond of again forwarding all those dirty messages and porn which comes on your phone, please stop it there and then. If you are talking about harassment at workplace, my lawyer friends are here from Lexington. They will vouch with me that even men can complain sexual harassment. From men to men in terms of those dirty jokes. Stop it. Don't forward it. Don't get into a meaningless forwards, because you are viewed. Whatever you forward, people actually see you, and we get into a mindless stuff. Sometimes, you open your WhatsApp and 200 messages coming into you. In terms of discussing all kind of problems which are happening on the LinkedIn or on the Facebook, pick and choose. Contribute where it matters the most. And if we have to develop our personal branding, note the branding of others. Compliment them. And you will come to know of it. LinkedIn will tell you, this fellow finishes his anniversary. This fellow has been promoted. This fellow has actually quoted something very nice. Put a like. Write a comment. It takes time to write a comment. And if you write a comment, that fellow with whom you want to have a good relationship would actually look at you like. And Newton's third law applies, because next time he is going to respond to whatever you may be writing. Develop content. Don't forward content. It takes only 140 characters to tweet. Do that. But balance. Make a draft first, if you're not used to it. Be careful in terms of the impact. Empathize with the reader. Don't tweet meaninglessly. And I come across a lot of guys and say, having a headache today, tweet. Bad food, tweet. Yawn, 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 tweet. What are we doing? People are watching us. Unless you are Mr. Modi. And Modi is also very careful in terms of what he tweets. And Shashi Tharoor gets caught up in terms of what he tweets. So be careful. But then, what are the other contents? We all have smartphones which have cameras and we don't even use them. Take a good picture. Take a funny picture. Last night at 12:20, I walked into an ATM, and within the ATM in the AC environment, the guy was sleeping. So I took a picture of his first. फिर क्या कर रहा है? साहब बाहर मच्छर बहुत काटता है. मैं क्या अंदर बैठा है तो सोना तो नहीं होता. पता नहीं था वैसा है. But I found his post very funny immediately on the Facebook, and I knew a lot of likes started coming. But that's the fun part of it. But at the same time, you actually may have something successes and failures of people. Write to people. Write on their activity board in terms of, okay, this is where I heard you and this is what I like about you. Do that. This is where you create their personal brand, contribute to their personal brand, and the reciprocity is going to happen. And we talk so much. What stops us to write 200 or 250 words per day on a subject of our own choice? Nobody has the time to read 1000 word article, and that's our problem. We only think in terms of bigger articles, right? 100 words. But write something meaningful. People will share it, and actually you will be creating a lot of intellectual capital on your web. There is no need to actually print it. That's the digital estate that you have created. Let people enjoy. And of course, pick and choose. Facebook could be more of friends and social circle. Don't put all the heavy stuff on Facebook, but use LinkedIn for real professional stuff. And if you have made a good presentation, please use slideshare.net. Tomorrow you'll find this presentation on slideshare.net also. Because that's a platform. And that's a platform where people share. And when you are doing a research, you can actually look in terms of what people have spoken on the same subject. And there will be a wonderful estate that you are creating. And of course, YouTube, don't go beyond 2 minutes. Don't bore people to death. Unless and until it is this kind of a session, which is a longer session, and it cannot be broken into pieces and it has to go to YouTube. But we all can create stuff for the web because the equipment is lying in our own pocket. Use it because you have spent 40,000 rupees on it. Involve and engage in groups. LinkedIn can give you limit of 50 groups. Facebook can have many groups. Google Plus can have many groups. What stops you? Pick and choose. Relatives may have a different group. Friends may have a different group. Professional associates may have a different group. And enjoy those groups. But add meaningfully. No mindless forwarding, because people really get bored of reading the same stuff. They know the first sentence, oh yeah, I read this 3 months ago. Why this guy is such a boring guy? He got this joke just now. And he's forwarding it to us. They're making an opinion about you and say, oh, this guy has a poor taste also because he's forwarding every kind of stuff. Stop it. Ensure that what you contribute is not an overbearing message in terms of religious, political, communal, whatever. And of course, give respect to Section 66A, IT Act. Big Brother is always watching. Otherwise, my lawyer friends will be very happy to help you. You can be caught with whatever you may pass on also. So be careful. Don't break IT Act. Because you'll be first put behind the bars before you could be taken out. And taking you out is going to be a very tough thing. Now the question is, how do I measure my brand? We need to really look at 5 things which may be happening, which can be an indicator that my brand, especially online and offline both, are working fine. First, does it give me more business possibilities? Do I get repeat business? Do I get longevity of business? Do I get recalls? And if that keeps happening and you do not lose your customers and clients, you're doing pretty well. Do people look at you with a lot of respect, affection, reputation, awe? And sometimes you are caught in a tough situation. Once a guy came to me in British Council Library. I was looking at a book and this guy was looking at me and he said, "Sir, Rajiv Khurana ji." हाँ जी. "Sir, आपने मुझे पहचाना नहीं?" "नहीं पहचाना." "सर, आप गोरखपुर आए थे ना?" मैं कहा, "हाँ आया था." "सर, आपने टॉक दी थी यूनिवर्सिटी में?" मैंने कहा, "हाँ जी दी थी." "सर, मैं फ्रंट रो में बैठा था." "हाँ यार, 3,500 लोग थे उस वक्त." "That's good that you could recall. You have a good memory." But look at it. The guy suddenly was in awe. I was feeling good also about it. I'm good kick to my ego. But when people look at you and say, "Wow, maybe this is the kind of guy, this is the kind of professional I would love to be," the measurement is happening. Do people turn into your ambassadors of goodwill and referrals and engagement? I feel very happy when a client gives me a call and says, "Rajiv, yeah, मेरा एक friend है, he's working with such and such company. I've given you your number to him. He'll give you a call, यार. Just बात कर लेना यार." बात क्या कर लेना? I'm waiting for that call. But then, isn't it good? Because in professions, no advertising, no mass mailers can get you work. It is the people who will give you work. That's the reason lawyers, CAs, etc. are not supposed to advertise. Their good work, their great work is the best advertisement which may happen. That is true with consultants too. And then in case you're talking in terms of social media, then what kind of views are we getting? How many likes are we getting? What is the quantum of endorsement on LinkedIn? How often is the invites that keep coming to me? My LinkedIn score at the moment is around 4,000 people. And every now and then those invites, and I'm still choosing because there are 2,000 people I have not yet accepted. So what kind of shares are happening in terms of whatever you have uploaded? And finally, what are the retweets of whatever you have tweeted is a symbol of your online presence. And my friends, finally, how many die-hard friends have you created from business associates and acquaintances? Because die-hard friends will come here to smile at you even when there is a tufan going outside. That is where perhaps all of us can take support of our bum chums. And my dear friends, to close the session, I'll only quote Socrates when he said, "To find yourself, think for yourself." I'll close with a personal example. I started with a Mooch Ka Baal example. Few years back, and I must now admit openly at a public platform in terms of what happened to me, I was in the process of buying another property, and all of a sudden I was short of some funds. And a chairman of a company was sitting in my office and we were discussing, and I immediately had to pick up the call, and he could sense that there was something wrong. And I was short of just 10 lakhs. Next morning he came unannounced. And he says, "Rajiv ji, here is the package for you." I said, "What is this?" "कोई नहीं, आप यूज कर लीजिए, नो इंटरेस्ट, जब भी होगा आप वापस कर देना, बट अभी आप इसे यूज कर लीजिए." And I realized, oh my God, this is actually my earning as a professional, because my client has come and given me a package where nobody gives 10 bucks easily, and he's given me 10 lakh rupees so that I could use it. That night I slept very peacefully because I thought I had done a bit for myself. I had created some personal brand. Thank you very much, friends.